is a hair butter tutorial because I need to make hair butter. I was tempted to just kind of put it together myself, but I was like, let me go on here and make a video. So I'm going to show you what I'm working with. If my voice is kind of raspy, it's because I got over like days of congestion by God's grace. So yeah, whatever. I'm not gonna bother about that. But anyways, add peppermint oil, 100% pure essential peppermint oil, some flowers of sulfur. And you can look all these ingredients up for yourself and double check them, but this is what I'm using for mine. This is Terramera oil. It has another name, Jumpa oil or something like that. That is like an Indian oil. Some organic castor oil. Some plain shea butter. And then for other essential oils, outside the peppermint, I got rosemary, got some cedarwood, got some clove oil, and I got some lavender oil. So I have quite a few ingredients that I'm working with today. You may or may not want to put all of these things in. I have not researched how they interact together, but I know that these are things that are beneficial for hair growth or inflammation or things like that. So this is what I'm doing for myself. So it's up to you. Here is what I'm going to be doing. So I have a little container. It's probably better if you have a dark container or even a glass container, but this will likely be living in a drawer. So I washed it out and just make sure it's dry because you don't want your oils having water in them. Just a little bitty container with the lid. Betty Crocker, y'all, Betty Crocker. But what you want to do is take your shea butter, and you don't have to use these brands. You can find raw shea butter. This one's not whipped. It's just a raw shea butter. But it's not very difficult to get it into a whipped stage. I do it manually. So I'm just going to be taking out some shea butter here. It's very easy, and it's really nice to know that you've decided what you're putting in your products. So, yeah. It's a nice thing about making your own stuff. You can avoid all the unnecessary preservatives and chemicals. And all of these things would claim to be 100% of what they are. I do believe, let me double check this Terramera. This one's made in Pakistan. But yeah, I think they would all claim to be 100% of what they are. So I'm just gonna chop it a little bit. I just have a little plastic butter knife that I'm using. So this is about a third full with the shea butter. I'm going to pour in some Terramera, and I don't have measurements for this. I'm just gonna pour in probably about a tablespoon or two, probably about a tablespoon of that. This one I think is good, like anti-inflammatory, different skin conditions and things like that. I also looked it up for hair. Some websites say it's good for hair. I don't know if it's a well-known oil because it's an oil that's popular in like India. And like I said, it was made in Pakistan. So I don't know how many studies there are on it. Like I said, it's also called like jumbo oil or something like that. But I don't know how much the science research world has done on it. Maybe there's a scientific name that it can be looked up by, researched by. Going on some organic castor oil. It's a nice thick oil known to promote blood flow. Yeah, it's also just, and my hair seems to like castor oil, so this is an organic, just straight castor oil. If I had black castor oil, that would have been nice too, but I don't right now. This is a sulfur powder. I believe Madam C.J. Walker, she was this black woman back in the day who said that God gave her a dream of what to put in hair products, and sulfur was one of the ingredients that I believe I read from her. So that's why one reason I want to go on with the sulfur. It doesn't have the best smell, sulfur, and I'm going to put about a tablespoon and a half or so of that. And then it's nice with the essential oils, they are very powerful oils, so they can go in and deal with some of that eggs or whatever scent. So sulfur is present in eggs. It's also present in the bonds of our hair. Sulfur helps make up the bonds of our hair. So I'm putting that on topically. MSM is a form of sulfur, methylsulfoxamethane, but it's in a form of sulfur that you are able to take internally. This form of sulfur, I do not know that you can take internally, so I'm not going to tell you to do that. I'm actually going to say don't do it unless you do some research and you find out that you can, because sulfur is also used as like a ground fertilizer for plants. So if you don't know what you're doing, please don't do anything like that, because I don't want you to hurt yourself. Don't use this kind of sulfur. If you want to take sulfur internally, look for an edible MSM supplement, which comes in powder form or capsule form from like health food store. You might find it in major grocery stores too, because I think it's taken some popularity in recent years. So it's probably not as hard to find. See a little brown something in there. Just want to get that out. Okay, I'm gonna go in with some lavender oil. This will help with the scent, but it's also known to help with hair health. So these are essential oils, so they're really strong. So you want to be careful how much you use. Use about 8 drops of that or so. And actually, the more essential oils you put in, the more you want to make sure you're diluting it with some kind of a carrier oil, which Terra Mira, this one I don't think would be considered really an essential oil in the form that I have it. So it probably acts as more of a carrier, as well as the castor oil and the shea butter. They're not like these super concentrated oils that, Terra Mira still could have like a spicy effect. So you might want to be mindful of that and dilute that. Actually, I might add some olive oil to this. If I don't do it on camera, I might do it off camera, but that'll help dilute some of it, because you don't want to burn your scalp and your hair follicles. Here's rosemary essential oil, and rosemary is known to help reduce hair fall. So about 9 or so drops of that. And I'm not going off of, I'm just, like I said, I'm making this for myself. This is just what I'm deciding to do. So if you want to go with less, if you want to go with more, just use your good judgment on that. Do your own research and find out what you want to put in. Cedarwood oil. Also, it's kind of a piney smelling oil, like pine trees, kind of something like that, more earthy, but it's also used for hair health. This one's not coming out. Here you go. About 8 to 10 drops of cedarwood oil. I don't remember all of the benefits off the top of my head, with that one, but it's also used, said to help with hair health. Maybe it has some anti-inflammatory properties and things like that. And clove oil is another hair health oil. So I'm gonna go on with some clove. And I think that clove and cinnamon really have some similar properties. You can see how this is whipping just with my hand and a plastic butter knife. Like, it doesn't take a whole lot, especially if you're mixing it with more liquid oils. The shea butter doesn't take a ton to whip it by hand. This is peppermint oil. This is obviously a big bottle, so I'm gonna pour it in the cap first. And this one is pretty strong. The peppermint oil is also known, I'll pass a little. Peppermint oil is also known to stimulate blood flow to the scalp. So I'm going to put some of that in. It gives you that minty, fresh feeling on your scalp also when you use peppermint oil, which is probably part of the stimulating blood flow, but especially if your scalp is itchy and stuff like that, it just can help your scalp feel refreshed. Or after you have washed your hair and your pores are open, it gives you that refreshing minty feeling. So I'm gonna go grab some olive oil, and that's how beautiful and creamy it looks right now. I'm gonna put some olive oil in here too. Be right back. So olive oil, if you're liberal with it, it's not like an essential oil, it just has some nice properties. This one is an extra virgin olive oil. It's organic. It says it's not like the best form of olive oil, but it'll do. If you can get like a fresh first cold pressed organic olive oil in a glass dark jar, and the more peppery the olive oil, supposedly the more potent or better it is for you. So that would be a better olive oil to get. And really good ones can get pretty expensive, but sometimes you can find them on sale, which is awesome. And it's good to take internally as well as externally. If you don't have some reason you couldn't, I believe it's even supposed to help with it is supposed to help with some conditions, should I say, taking it internally. So you can do your research on that. But because scripture talks about olive oil, I like to incorporate it in my hair health and my diet and skin health sometimes too. I've also used it for my skin also. So this one's particularly for hair. You can see how liquid it is. It's moving now. And that's, again, just with using a knife, using my hands. And so there's my hair butter. I'm just kind of going back and forth to get out some of the lumps that are left over of the shea butter. But let's do a little skin test. I had a little bit on my hand already, but I'm just going to use a little bit here. And it's a little grainy from the sulfur, but I don't mind it personally. So there it is. And this I can use on my scalp and hair. I actually wouldn't just want to use it on my hair because of the oils I put in. I would like to have them on my scalp, like the rosemary, to prevent hair fall as well as the peppermint and the castor oils to promote blood flow. But also my hair strands, hoping that it could be that the sulfur in this form, maybe it's too big, scientifically speaking, but why not give it a shot anyway? So that's the end of my hair butter video. Hopefully you enjoyed that, and hopefully it inspires you, gives you some ideas of how to make your own, or you can use this recipe if you're comfortable with that. It's up to you. You can do your research, talk to your doctor, whatever. Okay, have a good day. That's the end. Bye.